We're going to be doing some live for sale by owner prospecting using what I call, or what we call, the the reverse offer strategy. It's a Monday morning if you can't tell. And I had things, I had some things that I thought were set up that weren't set up. So bumbling through a little bit here this morning, but we will get rolling here. I'm going to give a minute or two for folks to hop into the live school room, which is where I will share my slides and my screen and dig in. I'm going to start with something from a mindset perspective that will help you get more from all of your marketing efforts. Number one. Number two, a story from one of our June Accelerator Program participants, and reframing perspective and expectations. Then I will get into live for sale by owner prospecting. I'm going to be using the reverse offer strategy and lead deck to actually do the outreach to the for sale by owners. And we're going to get rolling here with all of that in a minute. While we are waiting for more people to hop into the room, I'll also let you know that there is still time to register for the June 1 deal a week live challenge. The 1 deal a week live challenge for June. You can register at onedealaweek.com. Onedealaweek.com. Totally free to attend. And it's going to be a lot of fun. At the time of this live stream, it starts tomorrow at noon, Tuesday, June 16th at noon. And without further ado, let me do this. Let me hit the record button here. Let me share my screen. And we are going to rock and roll. So I want to talk about something that I have. It's been something that I feel like I'm addressing in some form or fashion pretty regularly with our June 1 deal a week accelerator program participants, which is focusing more time and energy on squeezing out every last bit of opportunity before starting to chase or pursue the next opportunity. Now that sounds, kind of nebulous a little bit without more context. So here's an example context. One of the first things that we help our participants deploy is what we call our seller lead reactivation process. So many of our participants, I would say probably 2/3, if not more, of the folks that we're working with in our June 1 deal a week accelerator program, at least 2/3 of them have somewhere between tens to hundreds of old unconverted seller leads. These are people that at some point had raised their hand and requested an offer, or showed an interest in what the value of their property was, or just in some form or fashion was a seller lead. And we have an entire process and playbook for working those old leads and turning them into listings. For example, Cindy Lockhart, her and her husband, Anthony, they're a domestic team in Florida. They've already taken a listing just from the seller reactivation part of the program. It's literally like a sliver of what we're doing with them. They've already taken a listing from that activity, which is awesome. But what I'm hearing and seeing a lot of participants is some form or another of sort of shiny object syndrome. In other words, they have 550 old unconverted seller leads, and they haven't even gotten through 100 of those, and they're wondering about working old expireds or for sale by owners or some other strategy or playbook that we have available to them. And I'm sharing this because I want them and you to focus on when you find something that works, squeeze as much out of that thing as you possibly can before we go and chase, or before we go focusing on implementing new. a new strategy or a new playbook. Squeeze everything you can out of what's already working. Cindy and Anthony, they already got a listing. We got to squeeze more out of that audience, that bucket, that lemon, before we go and do more. Here's another visual that might be helpful for this conversation. My buddy Keith sent me this picture. These are, if you can't see the screen, you should definitely come join us in the school community in the live room here. If you're watching on TikTok, the link is in bio. If you're watching on one of the other live streams, it's in the description. This is a picture of 6 apples that have had various amounts of bites taken out of them. Now, the funny part of this is, one, he's got 4 kids like we do, so he feels what we feel at times. This is his youngest daughter, and this is 1 day's worth of apples where she would start eating the apple and then get distracted. She'd discard it, and then an hour or 2 hours later, she'd be hungry for an apple again, and she'd go and start a new one. Many of you are doing this in your business. You take a couple bites out of the apple, and then you get bored with that apple, and you move on. But if the apple's good, like for me, if I've got a good apple, I'm eating I'm getting every last little bit off of that apple before I move on. And many of you watching this, and by the way, I share these principles as much to remind myself as to remind or share with you all. When you've got something that works, when you've got a tasty apple, get every last bit of it. Every last bit of it before we go find a new apple or a new whatever entree and work on that. Squeeze every last bit of juice. Another analogy that I've used for this, I stole from a brilliant marketer by the name of Carl White. Years ago, back in 2009 probably, I was in a mastermind with him in New York. And he talked about the concept of half-built bridges. So when we're trying to grow our business, we want to implement a new strategy or concept. For example, I'm going to do some live for sale by owner prospecting this morning. When we want to implement something like that, we start to build the bridge, and then we never build it fully to the other side. And then we get distracted and think, well, this is a better strategy, or this is a better audience, or this is a better niche, so I'll go and start doing that. And before you know it, you've got a bunch of half-built bridges, or a bunch of half-eaten apples. Some of these aren't even half-eaten, if I'm being honest. So that helps you pick one thing this week. Pick one thing this week and squeeze every last bit out of it. Or eat that apple all the way down to the core before you go looking for the next shiny object or the next thing to do. One last thing I'll say on this. Not only squeezing every bit, but like making sure that you're doing everything you can to get the most out of the exercise. For example, Deal of the Week email. It's one of our strategies. It's one of our systems. It's one of the things we're helping our accelerator program folks implement into their business. And you can just do the Deal of the Week, or you can look at how can I do this in a way that maximizes my opportunities. And there are 7 specific things, sort of checkpoints that we have to get the most out of that email. Get the most out of it, right? So don't just check off a box and say, well, I did it. Get the most out of it. Squeeze as much out of that thing as you possibly can. Okay, I think you get the point. Moving on. I got this email last week from Jana. She's one of our June Accelerator program participants. And I'm sharing this for a couple of reasons. What you can't see in here, because I screwed up, is the subject line. Because the subject line was like, I kind of got to win with a tired landlord who has a tax lien. And I'm sharing this from like a perspective viewpoint, and also to demonstrate that what we do and how we help people actually works. So Jonna said, I called about a tired landlord property. The seller said no. In other words, they weren't interested in selling the property she was calling about, but that they had a $1.5 million property that they may want to sell, although he's speaking about the new tenant moving in. So in other words, they have a new tenant lined up, but he may want to sell it. He wasn't sure if he wanted to sell the $1.5 million and buy in Lake Lanier and rent out as an Airbnb. In parentheses, she noted that she demonstrated her expertise and sent him information about some of the restrictions in certain counties about Airbnbs. He also stated he was interested in renting out Section 8, so I sent him properties that would fit within those areas, that concept, good Section 8 revenue, etc. I usually work with investors. I understand it costs a lot of money to list a $1.5 million property. I'm not really blah, blah, blah. I'm supposed to get back with him this week. I did pull expireds. So what I shared before is also inspired by this, right? She's already moving on to a different apple, right? A different apple or a different lemon. We got to squeeze more out of this. So my reply was, what do you mean? Hey, Jonna, what do you mean it costs a lot of money to list a $1.5 million property? Would you like me to co-list it with you? And I could load up FSBOs if you'd like. And I gave her the playbook. But more so than that, I called her and said, why are we describing this as kind of a win? And here's what she said to me. And I appreciate the fact that she was being transparent. She said, well, I don't have a signed listing agreement yet. Okay, I don't have a signed listing agreement yet, is what she said to me. And while I can understand that perspective, the reality is we have to celebrate the wins along the way. We've got to celebrate the wins along the way. And also for her and for you to understand that that one conversation may or may not yield potentially multiple transactions. I mean, the best case scenario there is she helps him sell the 1.5 and 1031 exchange into a bigger property and also grow his Section 8 portfolio. So there could be multiple transactions, several million in volume. That's best case scenario. Worst case scenario, she gets better at doing the thing that gets those opportunities. And also understanding for her and others that one conversation may or may not yield the results, but doing that every day, 4 to 5 days per week, and connecting with someone like that tired landlord every day, that's how you win. So, right, like we want to celebrate that win and the proof of concept that it provides, and also we got to have more of those. It's about stacking them up and adding more and more cards to our hand. We want buyer cards and seller cards, because the more cards we have in each hand, the more we can match them up and be compensated, which is the literal definition of brokerage, is earning a compensation by facilitating a transaction. That's literally what it means. And that's what we're trying to do here. So she may or may not end up with this person as a client, but if she continues to squeeze out more and more conversations from the audience that we loaded up for her, that will yield more and more and better results and more opportunities for her. I hope that makes sense. And I'm excited to keep working with her to get to get results from that activity and from that audience. Okay. Here's what I'm going to we're gonna switch over to now, which is I am going to do some live for sale by owner prospecting using Lead Deck. And I'm going to use what we call the reverse offer strategy, which is one of the core strategies that I will be sharing with folks who participate in our One Deal a Week challenge. You can register at onedealaweek.com. It is totally free. It is 3 days of free training on the One Deal a Week blueprint and the reverse offer strategy. And I thought, what better way to show people why they might want to come participate in the challenge then demonstrate using the reverse offer strategy with a bottom of funnel audience, particularly for sale by owners, and also how we do that very quickly and easily using Lead Deck. So before I went live this morning, I went and grabbed all of the for sale by owners within a 25-mile radius of the city I live in, and I loaded them up into Lead Deck. Now, if you're curious about how that works and how we do that, well then A, you should participate in the challenge. B, you can DM me on School, and I'll give you our full playbook. And we have two different ways that we can get the data and then get it loaded into Lead Deck if you're using Lead Deck or you're interested in that, which is, by the way, for those who are interested in participating in our July 1 deal a week accelerator program, you get access to this as well. So I loaded those up, and I have my my scripting ready to go, and I'm going to pull them up here on my laptop and show you what it looks like on here. But then I'm going to switch over to my phone because that's what this is designed to do. We built Lead Deck to be used with the thing. Undeniably, this thing is the thing that makes us the most money in this business if you use it properly to have more conversations. So right here, I've got 30 for sale by owner leads that I loaded up this morning. 30 for sale by owner leads, ready to rock and roll. And I'm going to use what we call our our imported leads outbound script, which you'll see what that is in a minute. That is part of the entire for sale by owner fast track playbook. We have an entire scripting process detailed out for everyone. And so I'm just going to switch over. I'm going to start doing the live prospecting from my phone. So I've got to log into my account. I'm going to share the analogy that we use for Lead Deck and what it is and how it works. So our phone is the car. It's the vehicle. We're the driver. Lead is the engine. The only thing we're missing is fuel. And we can use Lead Deck to get fuel. For example, Jana, the story that I shared, in her case, we used Lead Deck to pull tired landlords that are also delinquent on taxes and or have an involuntary lien. And that's who she was contacting. That's how she got that opportunity for potentially multiple transactions. That's one source of fuel. Another source of fuel that I'm going to be working this morning is for sale by owner leads. So I'm going to work that fuel source. You can also import old expireds or fresh expireds for that matter. I like old expireds because we're seeing a ton of success with them, and they're also not getting hit as much from other agents, right? It's not as much of a red ocean. You can pull pre-foreclosures. You can do just about any type of property data, one way or the other. The fuel is the last thing. So this is the vehicle, you're the driver. Lead Deck is the engine, and then we just need fuel. I've got this loaded up here. We've got right here, I've got my for sale by owner leads. Now, the data source that I pulled for sale by owner leads from only has phone numbers, but in most cases, that's their cell phone, and it's a great way to reach them. And this morning, because I want to get through all 30, I'm not going to call them, though that is oftentimes the most direct way. What I'm going to do is demonstrate how quickly and easily you can text them through this medium here. So already I went through that one. I'm going to hit this green thumbs up button, and it's going to load up the next one for me. Now, for whatever reason, this next one, when I went and got the data, it didn't have any contact info for that, which actually is a wonderful opportunity. So I'm going to go ahead and enhance the data right in Lead Deck to see if we can find phone numbers or emails. Oh, look at this. I already got a text back. Right on. Thanks for getting back so quickly. Where are you guys at with price at this point? Question mark. This is one that I've talked to before. And so I figured, I'll just reach out and see what's up. Okay, so this was one that I didn't have any contact info for, and now I have multiple phone numbers and emails. So I'm going to tap to text here. Okay, they're at 379. Gotcha. Thanks. Let me see if we can put together some preliminary numbers, and I'll get back to you this afternoon. Period. Does that work? Question mark. We're already getting some action from the very first one. So I tapped to text that one, and look at this. I can tap to email as well. Bada bing. I tap to text. I tap to email. Let's move up to the next one. And I'm going to tap to, I'm going to use this as a, I'm going to use this up as an opportunity to demonstrate how quickly and easily we can make changes. So with Lead Deck, we have these pre-populated scripts. Okay, we have these pre-populated scripts, and I've got to make a small change to mine, because when I am reaching out to for sell by owners, we use a free data source, right? So our fuel is free in this case, which is nice. I mean, who wouldn't want free fuel, especially with the prices nowadays, which is free. But with that free fuel, I don't get their name information. I basically just get whatever phone number they attach to it. So I'm going to change this to morning. I'm going to say, actually, good morning, GM. This is Josh. Are you still accepting offers? So I'm just going to tweak that real quick. I noticed that as I was working through them, that that pre-populated text, it was trying to pull a first name field and it didn't have it. So we just roll with the punches. Okay, so I texted that one. I'm going to hit the green thumbs up button. And now this is another one where, for whatever reason, I don't have the contact info. So I'm going to try and enhance this one and see what comes back on it. Okay, no property contact info found. Sometimes that happens. There must be something weird with the address, and I can go and try and figure that out, or I've got 29 others that I've got ready to rock, so I'm just going to keep plowing my way through. So did I not save that? Hold on here. Hit save. There we go. All right. Let's load that up. Okay, here's another one where I don't have the contact info. When I was pulling in this data, I did notice that there were 4 or 5 that didn't have contact info. No big deal. Look at this. It pulled in a whole bunch. So, bada bing. Send that. And I'm also going to send this email, which is seemingly a good working email, because I can tell by the naming of it and the fact that it's a Gmail address. So I'm going to mark that one done. Here's another one where we don't have the data. I'm kind of glad that it put those at the front, because then we can plow through the ones at the back. That I do have the the free fuel that we got. It did come with that. So I'm just trying to enhance this one here. Okay, here we go. So, good morning. That's a blue text. That's always good. And I tapped to text, and I tapped 2 emails because I'm looking at the data, and I've done enough of this to know what is more likely good data and what isn't. Next up, boom. Now, all I'm doing right now is I'm throwing lines out in the water. We love to make a fishing analogy. I'm just throwing lines out in the water and see who bites. Some of these properties may be sold or under contract because I went and grabbed everything that is available for sale by owner that I could load up in here and just demonstrate through live prospecting this reverse offer strategy concept. Here was another one that didn't have contact info, but I got a whole bunch back after hitting the enhance button. So I got cell phone and email and sent that over. And let's see here. So bada bing, bada boom. I'm just going to see how long it takes to get through all of these, because there were 30, which, by the way, that is a good number for the day. For the day. Meaning using the reverse offer strategy that we're talking about here, working through 25 or even 20 to 30 old expireds for sale by owners, tired landlords that also have a involuntary lien or might also be tax default, or out-of-state absentee that are also tired landlord. I mean, there's any number of ways that we can stack those filters and pull high-octane fuel right from the tool, right from Lead Deck. So let's see here. I am more than halfway through already. And we'll see how soon we start getting more replies. We already had the one, pretty significant engagement. Yeah, sure. Okay. Right on, period. If we brought you an acceptable offer, would you be open to paying a finder's fee? Question mark. I'm just following the playbook. Just following the playbook. Did I send this one? No, I did not. So send that one. I'm not going to let the fact that I'm starting to get replies stop me from getting all 30 lines out. I'm getting 30 lines out into the water. And then I'll go back and we'll scoop the net up for what we've got. So far, we've gotten 2 bites. We got 2 bites so far. Just plugging away here. Oh, that one failed to send. So let me see what's up with that. It said failed to send. I'll go back and clean that up. It may be one that I do need to just call. Here we go. I'm just tapping away here. I want to say again, depending on when you hopped on, the most direct path is just to pick up the phone and call them and use the playbook, which, by the way, if you want a copy of the playbook, the For Sale by Owner Fast Track Playbook, come join our free school community and then send me a message in school. Send me a chat through school. Just send FSBO, FSBO, and I'll send you that. And oh, by the way, you should also register for our free 1 deal a week challenge. Okay. I'm almost through all of getting all my, oh, okay. We've got, oh, perfect. We're getting some great examples that I'll be able to follow up with here in just a moment. I just want to get all my lines out in the water. I'm really pushing the fisherman analogy this morning. Let's get all those lines out there. And then we can come back and check if we have any fish on. That's weird. One has multiple. That could be an investor, which I would want to talk to. Okay, so I got all 30 lines in the water. Now I need to go back and work What's happened? Okay, we've accepted an offer. So what do we do in that scenario? Awesome, period, congrats, period. Do you have a settlement date scheduled? Question mark. If you could, do me a favor and let me know if for any reason it doesn't work out with the current buyer. We'll see what comes back. Unfortunately, no, we have a buyer and settle on the 15th. Congrats, exclamation point. I'm assuming you mean July 15th, question mark. Can you do me a huge favor and let me know if for any reason that contract doesn't work out? Question mark. How much percentage, please, or is it a flat rate? Well, just like most things in life, it's totally negotiable. Period. Why don't I do this? Let me put together some preliminary offer numbers to see. Hello, this is Josh.
Josh, it's Dave.
Good morning.
You called about the house at 137 Sable?
I maybe texted you.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. 37 Sable.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it still available? Are you still accepting offers?
Yes.
Okay. Let me put together some preliminary numbers, and I can get back to you later this afternoon. If we brought you an acceptable offer, would you be open to paying a finder's fee?
Might.
Okay. Let me work up some numbers first and foremost, and I'll get back to you this afternoon.
Okay. All right.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. So we're getting bites all over the place, right? We're getting bites all over the place. And look, I can't guarantee that any of these are going to turn into contracts. But what I can guarantee is this, that in order to close more transactions, we have to write more contracts. In order to write more contracts, we have to have more conversations with people that want and or need our help and service. Period. All right. That was Dave 37 Sable. Making notes so I don't. And see if we're even in the right ballpark. Period. Does that make sense? Question mark. So that was the one that was asking about percentage. This one says will do. Thanks. Okay, so this was one. We accepted an offer. We're working on getting to closing. I said, awesome, congrats. Do you have a settlement date scheduled? If you could do me a favor and let me know if for any reason it doesn't work out with the current buyer. This one said sold. Okay. Congrats. When you say sold, it's actually settled or you're under contract? Question mark. Awesome. Thank you. Period. Obviously, I hope for your sake that it holds up as planned. Period. Have a great week. Okay, sounds good. Okay, so I've got at least 3 where we're at the point where I'm going to pull preliminary offers. Do you have any other properties that you might consider an offer on? Question mark. That's the magic question, right? When we're talking to sellers or buyers for that matter, we want to ask if they have any other properties that they might consider an offer on. And they might not even own any other properties. Got it. Period. Thanks for confirming. Period. If you hear anyone else in the area talking about selling, please keep us in mind. Oh my goodness. Look at this. Jeez Louise. I'm currently accepting showing the, oh my, this, they have like a canned reply here. Thanks for that, Stephanie. You are obviously very well organized and prepared. Period. Kudos to you. I'm going to take a little closer look at the property and put together some preliminary offer numbers. Period. Very transparently. Probably won't be your best option, but it might be something to consider as a backup plan depending on where you're at in a week or two or more. Does that make sense? Question mark. We'll see what happens. Okay, so I'm just going to pick one. I'm going to pick one. Actually, I'm going to take the gentleman that called me. I'm going to pull the preliminary offers for him. Our institutional offer platform, which we will work through this process in more detail on the one deal a week challenge as we unpack the reverse offer strategy. But I'm going to do a quick little property search here. We're going to explore cash offers, and let me find his full address. He said 37 Sable, I believe. So I'm going to pull up 37 Sable. I don't know how it's spelled. Oh, there it is. Okay. 137. Okay, I'm glad I looked it up. 137 Sable Drive. Sable Drive. So we'll pull it up here. And we'll see what we've got. So to be clear, at this point, I've thrown out about 20 or about 30 lines in the water, and we've already gotten one of them sold, two of them are under contract. And we've gotten, 3 or 4 bites. And I know that throughout the day, I'll get more and more responses and replies. And some of them, may also be under contract. We'll see. Time will tell. But again, we got to throw the lines out to see if we can get some bites and some nibbles and see if we can get a fish on. And that's what the reverse offer strategy is about. It's just using it in this case specifically for sale by owners, but the process is applicable with a bunch of different potential buckets. Okay, so I've only got one realistic offer here, if I'm being honest, just looking at it. Actually, I'm going to leave these two up because I'm going to dig deeper with him later on what's going on with this. In other words, would a leaseback be of interest? Right. So now I'm going to let me pull this up. So I reference this often, which is our 7 C's to compensation. 7 C's to compensation, and compensation is the 8th C. I mean, sometimes I just I luck out with this stuff when it comes to the alliteration, which I love. So I'm going to pull this up, and I'm going to use for sale by owners as the example. Okay. So the first C is we need to choose. We need to choose who or what we're going. In this case, this morning, for demonstration purposes, it's for sale by owners into lead deck so I could contact them. I've already gotten almost a third of them in conversation in some form or fashion. Now we need to connect with them on a deeper level. For example, Dave, 137 Sable Drive. What I need to do is connect with him more about the property and probably more importantly, the situation and scenario. What is he trying to accomplish and how I might be able to help with that so that we can uncover or discover, is there a potential for a contract, and then, close the transaction so I can get compensated. And maybe there will, maybe there won't. Maybe I can't help them with the sale of the property, but he would use or would like help buying the next property, or could use a referral to a great agent if he's relocating elsewhere. Who knows? Who knows, right? But we got to follow the path to get there. Okay, this is another one. This is another one that is accepting offers. Thanks for confirming, period. Curious if we brought you an acceptable offer would you be open to paying a finder's fee? Question mark. Now, I am intentionally adding a little friction in here because if they're vehemently opposed to compensating me on any level, I'm gonna cut bait. Fisherman analogy. I'm gonna cut bait and we're gonna move on. Here's another one. Man, this is good. Thanks for confirming, period. Curious, if we brought you an acceptable offer, would you be open to paying a finder's fee? Question mark. And I'm strategically asking that question for two reasons. Number one, I want to gauge how open are they to working with a real estate agent in general, because I can be compensated. If it's a yes, I can get compensated on bringing the buyer, or eventually I can pivot to, hey, you already mentioned you'd be open to a finder's fee. What if we take that finder's fee and you use that as an opportunity to let me deploy our 7-day stress-free home sale system for the property so we can get you multiple offers in a weekend and help you establish the highest and best market value for the property, right? So it's just a matter of establishing, and also determining. Terrific, period. I appreciate that, period. I will put together some preliminary offer numbers and get back to you this afternoon. Period. Does that work? Question mark. So this person said, oh, yes, I'm paying a buyer's commission if that's what you mean. I'm focused on a traditional sale and not looking for a backup or alternative finance. If you have any feedback on the property or listing, I'd be happy to hear it. Thanks for your time. Yep, I totally get it. I'll take a closer look and at least give you an idea of where our private client would be at for your property. Not yet, but if it makes sense to explore the preliminary offer or offers, then yes, that would be our next best step. He says, that sounds good. Did you need to go look at the house? All right. This is what happens when you start throwing a bunch of lines in the water. You get bites and it gets distracting. So let me go back to the preliminary offer options for 137 Sable. So I now have a link that I can share with Dave that has two preliminary offer options. Now, what I don't know right off the jump here is I don't know what he's at property. So is he asking some crazy number, or are we in the general ballpark for him? Looks like it was, ooh, really? He's asking 264.9. And this preliminary offer, this almost seems too high. It doesn't even seem real. Interesting. So I'm absolutely going to get back to Dave. And this is one that I will probably go preview regardless. And also, man, I've got some retail buyers, at least two, that would be interested in this. So all of a sudden, right? So like all we got to do is start throwing lines in the water, and the thing starts, we start uncovering. Oh, you know what? I missed it. Look at this. It's been listed on the MLS. I didn't even see that. This one's been listed on the MLS now. Son of a gun. Well, what's the offer? Oh, wow. I didn't realize that you guys were auctioning it off. Period. Let me take a look at what the preliminary offer numbers look like for it, and I'll let you know. Most likely this afternoon. Does that work? Question mark. Okay, so a little bit of bouncing around here, but at least you can see the flow here, right? So we want to I'm gonna come in for a landing on this because I got a number of other things that I need to get taken care of before we have our meeting for our June accelerator program participants. So let me just, I want to unpack here. So number one, we need to figure out, is it still available, and are they accepting offers? Number two, are they effectively open to working with an agent or compensation on some level? Number three, we then put together the preliminary offers, and we use that as a reason to bridge, to connect with them on a deeper level to determine, is there an opportunity for a contract here or not? And maybe it's not right now, but this is a property owner that I should and can stay in contact with, because eventually there might be the opportunity for a contract. That's really the game that we're playing here. And it's just that in this particular instance, it's with for sale by owners, right? And you're using the reverse offer strategy with them, and and taking it, to just having Here's the one deal a week blueprint and the reverse offer strategy in a nutshell. More reasons, legitimate reasons, to have conversations with people that want and or need our help and service. Because you cannot argue the fact that if you actually want to close more transactions, so you can increase your compensation, you have to write more contracts. And for you to write more contracts, you have to have more conversations with people who are in market and want or need your help and service. You can't argue that fact. I'm not saying our blueprint and our strategy is the only way, but it's a very effective way for you to do that. At least in my personal experience and the experience of many others that we are actively helping or have helped in the past with our lead deck platform and the one deal a week accelerator program. Okay, some housekeeping items as we come in for a landing. First and foremost, if you're watching this outside of our school community, you should come join the community. It's free. Check out the bonuses classroom. We've got lots of great freebies for you. And if you want a copy of the FSBO Fast Track Playbook, just send me a chat in school and say FSBO. That's number one. Number two, if you aren't registered for our one deal a week challenge, the June one deal a week challenge at this point in time, as of the live version of this video, is tomorrow at noon Eastern, Tuesday, June 16th at noon Eastern. I've had a bunch of people ask or say, I've got appointments, I've got conflicts, etc. The replays will be available in the afternoons. They won't be available forever, but they'll be available in the afternoons. And our next challenge is July 21st. So no time like the present. Get in, consume what you can, implement what you can, and use, mornings or evenings to catch up and make up the difference in between. And if you're curious about our one deal a week accelerator program, you can just either text or chat me on school, or you can DM me on Instagram, and I'd be happy to get you more information about that. Our June one deal a week accelerator program sold out, and we already have a number of spots for the July group that have been taken. And, I'd love to get you more information and see if it would be a good fit for you. Either way, you won't get any pressure or hassle from me. We're looking for the right people that we can help get to the point where they're doing a deal a week, because the compensation at that frequency is pretty good. All right, thanks. Let's all make it a great week, and hope to see you tomorrow for day one of the one deal a week June challenge.